When Robert Kiyosaki was still a child, he had the great fortune of having two people he could call dad. One was his biological father, a typical middle-class worker, college-educated, and working for the government in a stable and good job. But he is called the poor dad because he faced financial difficulties after retiring. The other was actually his best friend's father, an unconventional dad who didn't even finish high school, but was an entrepreneur, already had some businesses, and would eventually become one of the richest people in the state of Hawaii. Kiyosaki received teachings from both dads and says that much of the wealth he has today is due to the lessons he learned, especially from his rich dad. I didn't have that rich dad, and if you also weren't born among the top 1% of the richest in the country, it's likely that you didn't either. So let's learn from Kiyosaki. Fortunately, he decided to write a book that, for me, was one of the most important I've ever read, and it's about these teachings that we're going to discuss. We need to keep in mind that there are basically two ways to make money and two ways to lose it. You put money in your pocket through your work in the form of a salary, which is the first source of income. Or when you have something like rental income from a house, savings interest, or some other investment, which in the book is called an asset. And this ends up generating more income for you, making you money without having to lift a finger. Imagine people sitting on a couch, doing nothing but still making money because they invested their money in something that generates even more income. Would you like to be one of those people? On the other hand, you end up with no money in your pocket when you have many expenses, spending on food, health, education, or entertainment. And there are also liabilities, which is when you own something that takes money out of your pocket every month, like a car that needs taxes, gas, or maintenance. If you have a cell phone, you spend money on a phone plan, which creates even more expenses. These are relatively simple concepts, but distinguishing between them is the first step that separates the rich from the poor. In summary, the difference between an asset and a liability is that the asset puts money in your pocket, while the liability takes money out of your pocket. You need to understand that money only amplifies the cash flow pattern that is in your mind. If your pattern is to spend everything you earn, as is the case with the vast majority of people, the most likely scenario, and what I always see happening, is that an increase in available money will only result in an increase in expenses. If a person earns $1,000, they spend $1,000. If they earn $5,000, they spend $5,000, and so on. What's missing in education isn't knowing how to make more money, but rather how to manage it, what to do after earning it. The lower class only has expenses, the rich cultivate assets, and the middle class buys liabilities, thinking they are assets. One of the financial advice I've heard most in my life was this: save money and buy a house. Or, do like so-and-so, buy several rental properties and then stop working. But wait a minute, if I bought a house, would it be an asset or a liability? It depends. A house requires maintenance and some taxes. It only becomes a benefit or an asset if what you earn from rent or its appreciation exceeds the liability costs. So before giving this advice or taking that action, weigh it out and see if the house can really be considered a good investment. I'm talking here, but I still haven't answered the question, how to get rich? To get rich, and logically, to stay rich, you either need to be born very wealthy, or you need to know ways to earn more than you spend. In other words, you either need to earn more from work or increase your income by acquiring the famous assets. Now follow along with me. Imagine in a hypothetical situation, you work on a farm and earn $8 per hour. You wake up in the morning, work for 8 hours, earn your $64, and go home happy. One day you realize you're earning too little, so you decide to work 12 hours instead of 8. You're happy when your boss gives you $96, but you still need more, so you work 16 hours a day to earn $128. At some point, either your body can't handle it anymore, or you simply run out of time. Time is a limited resource. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received is to always use it wisely. But what can you do to earn more money? You think about it for a while and come up with an idea. You talk to your boss and tell him that you no longer want to be paid by the hour, but rather by the field plowed. He agrees, and you bring in your unemployed friend to work with you, offering him a lower wage than yours, which allows you to earn $1 for every hour your friend works. So, if you work 8 hours, you end the day with your $64. But now, you also receive an additional $8 from your friend's work. If instead of just one friend you had brought in 5, you would have earned an extra $40. In other words, with the same amount of time spent, you almost doubled your payment. Now you can accomplish more in less time. The example is extremely simple, and in real life it might not be that easy, but what I want to show is that you can work very hard to earn a very high salary, but unless you're a sports star or a movie star, you're unlikely to get rich that way. What you need to do is think like the rich. And how do the rich think? The rich focus more and more on increasing their assets column. They use money to start businesses, invest, buy properties, and so on. Over time, they accumulate a large amount of income generated without any additional effort. And it's at this point that they start using their money to buy the best cars, the best motorcycles, and other luxuries. Meanwhile, others take the opposite approach. They focus first or only on liabilities, meaning they want to have the best phones, the best cars, and they spend a fortune on their homes. They neglect assets and end up becoming slaves to their jobs. The priority of the wealthy is assets, while for others, it's liabilities. The key insight here is to understand that you shouldn't work for money. Instead, you should learn how to make money work for you. As I'm talking here, it might sound like I'm saying it's easy, but don't be fooled. If it were easy, we'd all be rich. Spending money is much easier than investing, and that's why there are so few rich people. What I want to show is that there's a better world than the one you see on TV, where people are only happy if they're killing themselves at work for hours on end, just to spend their little free time shopping, buying luxury cars, and getting deeper into debt, becoming slaves to consumerism. Many people go to school and never study again once they graduate, but learning how to make money work for you is a lifelong study. I hope you've understood the importance of changing how you view money and the opportunities it can create. It's not just about earning more, but about knowing how to make that money work for you. The wealthy aren't just lucky. They make conscious and strategic decisions to build and protect their assets, while most people are led by the immediate desire to consume. The key to transforming your financial life is to focus on creating assets and minimizing liabilities. Start small, but start today. Whether by investing in knowledge, starting your own business, or in investments that can generate passive income in the future, over time these assets will grow, and you'll have more freedom to do the things that really matter to you. Remember, the path to wealth isn't easy, but it's accessible to those willing to learn and change their mindset. Money should be a tool to set you free, not to trap you in an endless cycle of work and consumption. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep learning how to improve your financial life, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, leave your comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time.